In the early 1900s, Ontario faced a growing mental health crisis. Overcrowded asylums in Toronto left many patients in dire conditions, prompting calls for reform. In 1912, the Ontario government purchased 640 acres of scenic land in Whitby, envisioning a new kind of hospital, one that would offer hope and dignity to its patients. Construction began in 1913. Blueprints showed a sprawling campus with separate buildings and gardens designed to promote healing. But the outbreak of World War I changed everything. With the war raging overseas, the nearly completed site was converted into a military convalescent hospital. Wounded soldiers filled the wards, and the original vision was put on hold until 1919. Only after the war did the hospital finally open its doors to civilian patients, under the name Ontario Hospital for the Insane, Whitby Division. Unlike traditional asylums, Whitby's facility was based on the cottage model of care. Patients lived in smaller, home-like buildings, each with gardens and communal spaces. 16 cottages dotted the grounds, each housing 60 to 70 patients. The aim was to create a more humane, less institutional environment. Archival photos show patients tending gardens, walking tree-lined paths, and participating in daily routines that fostered a sense of normalcy. The hospital's design was considered progressive for its time, attracting attention from mental health reformers across Canada. Early staff included nurses, doctors, and attendants, many of whom lived on site and became part of the hospital's close-knit community. Anecdotes from the era recall community events, holiday celebrations, and the hope that the new hospital brought to families. Over the years, the hospital expanded, adding new buildings and services to meet the growing needs of Ontario's population. Today, only photographs and blueprints remain to tell the story of Whitby's visionary beginnings. The hospital grew quickly. By the 1920s, it housed over 1,500 patients and was the region's largest employer. Patients worked on the hospital's farm, producing milk, vegetables, and meat, believing that fresh air and responsibility were part of their healing. Daily routines were strictly scheduled. Patients woke early, made their beds, and gathered for communal meals in large dining halls. The staff included hundreds of nurses, many of whom were trained right on site in a program that ran from 1920 until the early 1970s. Nurses and attendants managed wards, administered medications, and organized recreational activities like music, crafts, and sports. Patients spent time outdoors in gardens or on the hospital grounds, enjoying fresh air and supervised walks, an important part of the hospital's therapeutic approach. Special events like holiday dances and visiting performances brought moments of joy and normalcy to hospital life. As the 20th century progressed, the hospital, like many others, faced severe overcrowding, underfunding, and controversial treatments. Despite challenges, staff often formed close bonds with patients, offering comfort and support in difficult times. Over the decades, the hospital became a community within itself, full of stories, struggles, and small victories. But behind the routines, there were also moments of hardship, resilience, and hope. Life inside Whitby Psychiatric Hospital was complex, marked by routine, care, and the enduring human spirit. The mid-20th century marked a troubling chapter for Whitby Psychiatric Hospital. Shadows lengthened in the corridors as new treatments promised hope, but often delivered pain. From the late 1940s to the late 1950s, over 300 lobotomies were performed at the Whitby Psychiatric Hospital. While these procedures were once considered groundbreaking, they're now viewed as crude and inhumane. Electroconvulsive therapy, insulin shock, and other experimental treatments were common. Some patients improved, but many suffered lasting trauma. Staff, too, faced moral dilemmas, torn between duty and doubt. Overcrowding was severe. Wards designed for dozens held hundreds. Beds lined hallways, and privacy was a luxury. Reports surfaced of neglect, harsh discipline, and the daily struggle to maintain dignity. New medications and a shift toward community-based care led to a sharp decline in inpatient numbers. From over 1,000 patients at its peak, only around 500 remained. By the 1970s, for some, these changes brought hope. Former patients recalled the relief of new medicines and the chance to return home. Staff adapted, learning new approaches and advocating for better care. In 1968, the hospital's name officially changed to Whitby Psychiatric Hospital, reflecting a broader effort to move away from outdated language and practices. Yet, The scars of the past lingered. For every story of progress, there were memories of loss, patients who never left, and staff haunted by what they had witnessed. But the darkest years would eventually give way to reform, and the hospital's story would continue to evolve. By the early 1990s, the once grand hospital buildings had become crumbling relics, windows shattered, paint peeling, and hallways echoing with silence. In 1993, construction began on a new, modern facility just next door, signaling the end of an era for the original site. The new Whitby Mental Health Centre opened in 1996. Soon after, the old hospital was shuttered, its doors locked for good. For nearly a decade, the ruins stood eerily silent, nature creeping in, memories fading, and the community left to wonder what would become of the haunting landmark. Urban explorers, thrill-seekers and photographers slipped through broken fences, documenting the decay and sharing stories of shadowy figures and unexplained sounds. In 2003, the Canadian band Billy Talent filmed their Try Honesty music video inside one of the derelict buildings, bringing national attention to the site's haunting beauty. But the decay couldn't last forever. As safety concerns mounted, the call for demolition grew louder. In 2005 and 2006, most of the original hospital was demolished, walls crashing down, erasing decades of history in a matter of weeks. Today, only fragments remain, crumbling bricks, scattered debris, and the memories of a place that shaped countless lives. Today, the grounds where the old hospital once stood are home to Ontario Shore's Centre for Mental Health Sciences, a place dedicated to hope, recovery, and community. The transformation from institution to healing centre is visible not just in the buildings, but in the lives changed here, patients, families, and staff who found compassion and support. Memorials on the grounds honour those who lived, worked, and struggled here. Community events now fill the space with laughter, remembrance, and resilience. For some, memories of the old hospital linger, stories of hardship, courage, and even ghostly whispers in the halls. The legacy is complex, but it endures. Yet the spirit of progress and healing now defines this place. Ontario Shores stands as a testament to how far mental health care has come and how much further we can go. What do you think? Was the Whitby Psychiatric Hospital a progressive sanctuary, a haunted reminder, or something in between? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more deep dives into Canada's forgotten places.